Okay, we'll begin by foam rolling our calves. So we'll start with our dominant leg seated on the floor, and you'll bring that dominant leg up onto the foam roller, getting into the calf complex. So you're going to roll that out. We'll spend a minute on each side and go ahead and make sure you're breathing as you're doing this. Dorsiflex your foot. We're going to be working on combating the plantar flexion in the ankles since this is a program for flat back posture for actors and singers. So we're rolling out the calves, getting into that complex that's very, very tight posturally for flat back. So after a minute on our dominant side, we'll go to that non-dominant side. Feel free to pick your pelvis up. Fingers can face the buttocks or to the side, just not backwards. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on the joints around our elbows. Keep breathing as you're working here. Stay connected to your lower abdominals and try to not round your low back too much. We want to get some extension into the pelvis to combat that chronic pelvic flexion that causes low back issues. Go ahead and switch sides. We'll move to that non-dominant side, spending a little less time here. And you can internally and externally rotate the leg and the hip socket to get into new fascia, finding areas that are tight. Typically with flat back, we see the whole central hamstring and gastrocnemius being the issue, but the hips and the IT band can also be affected and be pretty tight as well. So we're breathing here, getting into this tissue. And another 20 seconds or so, and then we're going to make our way onto our backs with our AntiBurst ball. We'll do a quick release for the hip flexors before we begin our low ab series. So with the AntiBurst ball, we're going to place it right under the sacrum. And with it under the sacrum, I want you to arch your back, creating some extension over the ball. So you'll think about that pelvis reaching towards your heels or whatever is in front of you, so you have some lumbar extension. And we're going to go ahead and hug one knee into the chest, extending the opposite leg out long, just to release the hip flexors before we begin our work. They're posturally not very tight with flat back. However, if you're seated for work or travel, they can get tight. And they're also weak. So that's a recipe for disaster. So we're going to loosen them up before we begin the strength work. So go ahead and switch sides after you've done about 3 breaths on each side with that ball under your sacrum. And make sure you hear your breath. And watch out for rounding the low back with the pelvis on the ball. Try to tip it down towards that leg that's extended long, reaching it for whatever is in front of you. Once you've released both hip flexors, let's plant both feet on the ground, solid. And then we're going to bring our hands by our hips, palms facing down. I want you to press the elbows into the floor and let your forearms pop up, creating a dead bug-like look with the forearms, lifted. And from here, we're going to press those elbows into the floor, finding our scapular stabilizers that attach under the armpits. Inhale, bring both legs up into the air. Heels are together, feet are dorsiflexed. Try to maintain that extension in your pelvis. Keep some distance between the chin and the chest. Think about the back body, the upper back pressing into the floor. Exhale, take your non-dominant heel and tap it to the floor. And then inhale, pick it back up. As you exhale and bring that non-dominant heel, we'll stay on that side to the floor. Feel like your inner thighs are pulling down towards the floor. Your pelvis is actually reaching up towards your feet. You've got some lumbar extension. You're tipping it down a little, but also reaching it out and up. Keep your low abs in. And hear your breath. You're doing great. And let's do 4 more on this side. Exhaling to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. 2 more, 2. And last one. And 1. And from here, let's go ahead and switch sides. Beginning immediately on the other side. If you do need to take a break, you can always bring the feet down and do some lumbar extension, arching that back over the ball, but keep going if you can here. Exhaling to lower, inhaling to lift. Watch out for tension in the shoulders and the neck, the facial muscles, and the chest. See if you can soften those areas and really lift up through your pelvic floor, the muscles that stop your stream of pee. Those are going to help lift the leg up. We want to drive and initiate from our center. 4 more here. Give me 4 and 3. Almost there. Last 2 and 1. Go ahead and bring both feet to the floor and bring your pointer fingers to the bony protrusions of your hips. I want you to put your fingers on those bony protrusions, and I want you to tick-tock your hips side to side. So it's a lateral movement, side to side. So if your pelvis was a clock, you'd be going to 3 o'clock, back to center, to 9 o'clock, to center. Just getting a little stretch in the QL here. We're opening up that low back, creating more space. So try to not move the limbs and the torso so much as just moving the pelvis. Isolating the pelvic movement side to side. Keep that going. Move at a tempo that is comfortable and relaxing for your body. No quick movements here. Slow and steady. And now let's do a little circular motion. So you'll start and you'll imagine your pelvis as a clock and you're tipping it and moving all the way around. Try to hit all the points. And once you get around back up to 12 o'clock, go ahead and take it in the opposite direction. Just creating some more space. Because we have such a tight low back, we've got to create more space in the lumbar and lift up with our core as we're doing this to keep our low back safe. Give me 2 more circles in each direction. And after you complete those, we're going to grab our lightest loop band and we're going to take it around the arches of our feet. It's actually going to be pinned under your non-dominant foot's arch of the foot, and it'll be around the ankle of your dominant foot. So we can do knee flexion with our pelvis elevated on the ball. So the ball is still under the sacrum, and once you get into that position with the ball under the sacrum, dorsiflex your dominant foot. We'll start with that foot, and it's going to come up to knee flexion slowly with the pelvis elevated. Try to keep that lumbar extension, and exhale, lower it down. So we'll move slowly. Inhale to lift, and exhale to lower. Since I do not have flat back posture, I will lose the band for this one, but since you have flat back posture, you're going to keep going here with the band and really wake up those underactive hip flexors. Dorsiflex your foot, which looks like this, dorsiflex. We're combating that plantar flexion of the ankle. Stay on your dominant side. We want to get in a good amount of repetitions to strengthen those hip flexors. Let's move to our non-dominant side now. Keep your tempo slow. Take at least 3 counts to lift. So inhale, lift, 2, 3, exhale, lower, 2, 3. And as you lift, notice if you round your pelvis. Can you keep it arching over the ball as you lift? We're fighting for lumbar extension. Make sure the head's not lifting up. You don't need to tighten your chest, your face, your shoulders. Keep that soft. Think about the sternum melting towards the floor. Right through the body towards the floor. Close those front ribs. Plug the shoulders down the back. Keep that going. Give me 4 more. 4. Dorsiflex the feet. 3. Nice slow tempo. Last 2. 2. And 1 more. And 1. Let's slowly lift our pelvis up, sliding the ball out, coming up to sit, taking off this lightest loop band. Good job.